Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the next round of our Animation Movie Madness Tournament. We're into the third round. We're about to go through results. I'm joined by Dennis Zen.
Thanks. This is my first time on the animated movie
it
videos.
Is.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Well, guys, as you know, we didn't get into it last week. It was a super busy week, so we were unable to do it last week. But we are back with the round 3 results, the bracket semifinals, if you will. So without any further ado, let's jump into the round 3 results, and we start with this. The number 1 seed, The Lion King, went up against the number 2 seed, or the number 5 seed, I should say, The Incredibles. Lion King, with no surprise really, wins 57.6% to 42.4%. I thought this would be close, but at the same time, not a big question mark on it. Lion King wins, but The Incredibles, so good, so beloved, makes a really good showing. Are you surprised by the results?
I'm not surprised by the results. I mean, personally, for me, I like The Incredibles more, but I knew The Lion King was going to take this one. But yeah, I thought actually closer than I thought, to be honest.
All right, so Lion King moves on. The Incredibles finishes its run in the March Movie Madness Tournament. Let's move on to the next semifinal. It was the number 2 film, Aladdin, defeating the number 3 film, Up. Aladdin wins 61.6%, Up with 38.4%. Not surprised by the result, but a bigger margin of victory than I thought there would be. I thought Up might get at least 40+%. But clearly, Aladdin is beloved. People love it. It's the number 2 seed for a reason. It wins. Although you weren't expecting Up to beat Aladdin, right?
No, I did expect it to be a lot closer. Just because Up is a more recent film, definitely my pick would have been Aladdin. So
mine too. All right, now let's move on to the next matchup we had. The number 1 seeded Toy Story 3 defeating the number 13 seed. A nice run for Monsters, Inc. getting all this way. Number 13 seed Monsters, Inc. Toy Story 3 wins 59.4% to 40.6%. You know, Monsters, Inc. was the lowest seeded of the films that really kept going and kept pushing on. And even now, against the number 1 seed, it made a really strong showing, 40% of the vote. So I think we might have underestimated Monsters, Inc. and the love for Monsters, Inc. But the right film won this, right?
yeah, definitely Monsters, Inc. was kind of the Cinderella story for our tournament because no other movie was so low ranked that got this far. And I actually was really surprised that it was even this close and that Monsters, Inc. even made it to this round.
All right, so Toy Story 3 moves on to the bracket final. Monsters, Inc., its run is sadly over. And now to the final result from round 3. We have the number 3 seeded Beauty and the Beast against the number 2 seeded Toy Story 2. Incredibly close. Beauty and the Beast wins 52.3% to 47.7%. So Toy Story 2 is out, the narrowest of margins. This to me was the toughest one to call. I honestly did not know which way this one was going to go. I think my pick would have been Beauty and the Beast. I think just by a hair, my pick would have been Beauty and the Beast, but I totally could have seen it going for Toy Story 2. So, I mean, all the Toy Story films are just pure, flat out masterpieces, like from start to bottom. It's so cool to see that it did so well. But Beauty and the Beast, like the first ever animated film to be nominated, not for a Best Animation Oscar, but for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And nominated for Best Picture in a year when they only nominated 5 films. That was in the era when there weren't 9 nominees, folks. That was just 5, and Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture. So it moves on. Any surprises? What do you think about the result?
Yeah, it was very close. My choice would have been Beauty and the Beast, and I think it won, especially because the Toy Story, we had all 3 of them in this tournament, and it kind of is that Lord of the Rings effect, where when you got 3 great movies, maybe people want to save all their votes for the final one, like Return of the King.
All right, folks, so that means we have got our individual bracket final matchups set up. Let's start with the Lassiter bracket. We're going to go over to the Lassiter bracket, and we've got the number 1 seed, Lion King, is going to be going up against the number 2 seed, Aladdin. A lot of people saying this could have been the finals. This could have been your finals matchup. This could have been a number 1 versus a number 1. They end up being up against each other, a number 1 and a number 2. Who's going to win this?
I think The Lion King is going to win. I personally would pick Aladdin. I would like to, you know, we're in the final 4. I would love to see a 2D animated film go up against a 3D animated film in the finals. That would be cool. Just to see what people will pick.
I am going to agree with you. Actually, I think this is. Well, I mean, obviously, I agree. I mean, it is the number one seed, The Lion King. These would have been two of anybody's big picks, but I think Lion King is just a really special movie. Like, and so is Aladdin. By all, absolutely, it is. But Lion King is just so great, and I think it's going to eke this out. I mean, like 51 to 49%. Look, I'm not going to be surprised if you guys vote the other way and you guys vote Aladdin over Lion King. And I'm not even going to complain. These are two masterpiece movies, but I would personally, I'm going to be voting for Lion King, and I think most people will by the ever so slightest of margins. So that's what I see. So, guys, ultimately, look in the description of the video. You're going to find a place where you can go and cast your vote for this particular matchup, and you guys will determine the results. Now, let's move over to the Miyazaki bracket. And in the Miyazaki bracket final, we've got the number one seeded Toy Story 3 going against the number 3 seeded Beauty and the Beast. Just let me say, a perfect seeding would have ended up with 1-2, 1-2. We came pretty close to seeding these absolutely perfectly. We got 1-2 versus a 1-3, so not bad. So we had Toy Story 3 against, what do we say?
Toy Story, Beauty and the Beast.
Toy Story 3 versus Beauty and the Beast. So how do you see this one going?
Man, it's tough because Beauty and the Beast is so beloved. My personal vote would probably be with Beauty and the Beast, but I can see Toy Story 3 winning just because of the, like I said, that kind of Lord of the Rings effect. They want to honor one of the Toy Story movies, and this is going to be the one.
It's so close. I'm going to say Beauty and the Beast pulls the upset.
Okay.
Minor, ever so minor upset. I think it's going to be actually. Let's pull the bracket up here again. Let's pull up the full bracket that we got here. I mean, when you look at these things, what we've got set up. Look, any combination of these, we're either going to get Lion King against Beauty and the Beast or Lion King against Toy Story 3. Both those couldn't call. Aladdin against Toy Story 3. Aladdin against Beauty and the Beast. Too close to call. I'm going to go with the number ones. I'm going to go number one on the Lion King side, and I go with the number one or the number 3 on the Miyazaki side with Beauty and the Beast. I think that's going to be our final matchup. But I mean, any one of these matchups would be, any one of these 4 potential matchups would be incredible. But so ultimately, what's it going to be? We're going to be the final 2 teams.
I think it's going to be the 2 number 1 seeds, Lion King and Toy Story 3. I won't be surprised if Beauty and the Beast gets in there. And I never thought actually that we would end up possibly having 2 2D animated movies go head to head if it goes the way that you're talking about.
Yeah, Lion King and Beauty and the Beast would be 2 2D older style animated films.
But I say it's going to be Toy Story 3 versus Lion King.
2D versus 3D.
Yeah.
All right, well, that would be interesting. Well, ultimately, guys, like we said, the power is in your hands. You guys determine who wins these matchups and who moves on to the ultimate final, and we will bring you the results of your voting and declaring our final 2 teams and setting up the final matchup next Friday here on AMC Movie News. Make sure you come to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure you stay up to date with that. So, for Dennis Zen, myself, thank you so much for joining us, guys, and until next week, bye-bye.